I haven't done this in a long time, so forgive me because I'm a little rusty. What's going on, everybody? My name is Asia Sampson and this is Baptism Overland, and today is going to be quite an easy video. I shouldn't have said easy because now I have jinxed it. I live in the south near the ocean, and it is awesome because I basically live where a lot of you vacation. There is no winter here. Now, before you start to curse me while you're shoveling snow in the driveway, just know that one of the downsides about living near the ocean, or basically anywhere that has high salt content in the air, or even if you live in places where it snows and they drop salt on the ground, one of the things we have to battle with all the time is rust. I swear to you, I can't put anything on the Jeep that in 2 months' time is not already rusting out on me. And I have tried everything. I would spray paint and spray paint to death, and then all it needs is just one little bit of rust to show through, and then before you know it, the whole process starts again, and I am back out with another can of spray paint, and I just got tired of it. Well, not too long ago, I heard about this product called POR-15. I swear by this stuff, and I have used this to basically stop or eliminate or cover up rust that's been on the Jeep. And if you don't know about this stuff yet, you're gonna swear by it too. So today, for those of you that never even heard of this stuff or don't even know how to use it, I'm gonna show you how to apply it so that you can eliminate your rust permanently. Okay, so let me just show you the places that I plan to paint with POR-15. The first thing is the ARB logo on my differential. As you can see, it's just totally rusted to the teeth. I wish they had done more to just protect that so that it doesn't rust out that easily, but as you can see, it's destroyed. So we're gonna paint that. Now moving over to the front, I think I wanna paint that sway bar as well. Not the whole thing, just the part that's visible because there's some rust already forming on it. I would like to paint the actual frame itself, but I just don't have enough POR-15 for that. So maybe next time I'll go and buy an actual big can and just tackle all the bigger areas. Then moving over to the other side, I'm gonna basically do the same thing and clean that sway bar up a little bit. That'll be nice. And then later on down the line, tackle the frame. Now another area that I wanna address is this bracket that holds my light bar. The rust on this is still pretty minimal, but since I have a can that's big enough to do all the small things, might as well go ahead and be proactive and do this, because this area does get a lot of water and a lot of mud and a lot of other corrosive things that are just not good for it. So might as well get it done now and have it protected. And then finally, another really important thing and a good example of why I want to use POR-15. These are the cuts that I made into the frame when we were attaching this bumper, and I spray painted it. I did, to protect it, and yet now it's starting to rust over here and also over there. All right, so what do you need? Well, first you need the kit. Now, if you've done this before and you have some of this stuff left over from previous kits, then I believe you can buy some of this stuff individually. But if you've never used this before, or you're planning to tackle a brand new project, I would just suggest getting the whole kit because it comes with everything that you could need. Now, this paint right here does come in two sizes. There's a small and a large. This is the small. Unless you are doing a humongous project that you plan to do in one sitting, I would suggest getting the small one, and I'll explain to you in a minute why that's important. Water bottles. Now, technically, you do not have to buy water bottles because this kit does come with bottles that you can just put one of these nozzles onto. So you don't really necessarily need to buy it, but because I've used POR-15 a few times and I keep having to throw away whatever is excess, I just decided to get 2 bottles. They're only like $1 each at Walmart. Then I could just label these, so for the next time, I'll still have some of that liquid left over. All right, so what is inside this thing? First, gloves, 2 brushes, bristle, foam. The greaser. You use this stuff to clean out the part that you are applying the paint onto. You get out all the grime, get out all the oils. I cannot stress enough how important it is to prep the surface before you just start applying paint to it. Metal prep. You use this to prep the surface that you're putting the paint onto. It helps sort of etch the metal a little bit so that the paint will stick and not flake off. Again, I cannot stress how important it is to prep your surface as best as you can before you even get to the painting. And finally, the paint. As you can see, this can is super small, and you might be saying to me, dude, the job I have is big. That little can of paint is not gonna cover it. I get it. If you have a big job, then I would suggest getting the kit that comes with like 4 of these and then just buy individual ones of these until you have enough to cover your job. And the reason I say that is because the moment you open this can up, it already starts to dry. So if you plan to do all of it in one sitting, then go ahead and get the bigger one. But as soon as you open this thing, the paint will start to dry and you won't be able to put the cover back on anymore. So what I like to do is just buy small cans like this, use it all up, and then open up a new can and so forth, because that way I know that I'm not wasting paint. And that's it. That's pretty much everything that you need. Let's go get painting. I started by pressure washing the areas where I will be painting. This is a good way to get rid of grime and dirt, especially in crevices and hard to reach areas. After drying, I took a steel brush drill attachment and cleaned off the surface rust as best as I could. Compared to before, it already looks much better, and at this point, I could leave it this way and not paint it anymore, but past experience has taught me the rust will simply return as quickly as I removed it. After brushing, I rinsed it off with water to get rid of the rust particles that came off. Now the first step in using the kit is to spray the area you intend to paint with a cleaner degreaser and then leave it on for 10 to 15 minutes. Now here's the important part. You cannot allow the degreaser to dry on the surface, so every minute or so make sure you spray it and keep it wet. After about 15 minutes, rinse it all off with water. After it's dried, the second step is to spray the areas with the metal prep. This will basically etch the surface slightly for better paint adhesion. And just like the degreaser, you can't allow this to dry on the surface either, so continue spraying it periodically to keep it wet. Then after about 15 minutes, rinse it all off again with water. Alright, so let me just show you the results. That's pretty much how it should look like after the first 3 steps. The bristle brush got a lot of that rust off of there. Then we used a degreaser to get rid of all the dirt and oils. And then the metal prep has now sort of given this a rough surface that we can paint on. So all I got to do is wait for this to dry, and then once it dries, we can go ahead and paint. And as for the bracket, that's now also been etched out. As you can see, there's a hazy glaze over it, meaning it's ready to be painted as soon as this thing dries. Sway bar, same thing. See how it's very glazed over now? The passenger side, it's still wet because it's actually away from the sun, so this will take a little bit longer to dry. And then inside the bumper, you'll also see some of that metal shining through. And that's how it looks on the other side. When painting, start with a light coat and build up from there. POR-15 suggests a minimum of 2 coats. What's great about this paint is that it self-settles, which means you don't have to worry about the brush strokes showing up. As the paint settles and dry, it evens itself out. See, I told you today's video was going to be simple. Simple, but eye-opening. Now for those of you who have used POR-15 before, this is nothing new. It's old hat. Some of you are really even good at applying this stuff. But for the rest of you who have been looking for a way to get rid of rust, cover up rust, or just protect the existing equipment you have from rusting out, this is a game changer. I know that for me it was. I remember looking at this stuff like, why haven't I been doing this all along? Now don't get me wrong, spray paint still has its place and I still use it in many applications, but there are times that you just need something more heavy duty to make sure that you are protecting that thing from rusting out again. Perfect example, the side steps that I have on the Jeep now, they are notorious for rusting out. And not just on mine. All across forums, I was seeing that people who had these side steps, they would just get rusted. In fact, the company that makes those side steps are no longer even in business anymore. But I kept spray painting them them and spray painting them, and then they would just get wet, and then the rust will start showing up, and I just couldn't figure it out, but I didn't want to get rid of them. So I tried POR-15, and they have held up this long now, and that's why I really like this stuff. Good thing about this stuff is that it's permanent and it's durable, and that's exactly what you need, especially when you live in a climate like I do, where there's just a lot of salt content in the air and you need to protect everything that you have on your vehicle from rusting out. But that's it. That's all I have to say. There's not much else to expand on except to drive home the fact that you really need to make sure you are prepping your surface very well before you start painting. Prep work is everything. Painting is quick, but you will not get good results unless you make sure that you prep those surfaces as best as you possibly can. So that's it. I hope you found this video informative. I hope that it helped you out, especially if you're looking for ways to solve your rusting problems. If you did find this useful, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and also consider supporting us on Patreon so we can continue to make content like this. And as always, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Baptism Overland. My name is Asia Sampson, and I will see you next time.